As the sun beat down on the desert sand, Captain Lewis rode his motorcycle across the arid landscape, the vast expanse of wind turbines stretching out before him like a sea of spinning giants. The sandy dunes rose and fell like waves, dotted with scrubby bushes and rocky outcroppings that cast long shadows in the fading light. The wind turbines stood sentinel, their blades rotating lazily in the breeze, their hum a distant thrum that vibrated through the air. The desert floor stretched out before Captain Lewis, a seemingly endless canvas of rust-red hues and golden light, as he rode towards the turbines with a sense of purpose. The wind whipped through his hair, and the sun-baked leather of his jacket creaked with each shift in the wind. He navigated the terrain with ease, his motorcycle gliding smoothly over the rough ground. As he approached the designated turbine, Captain Lewis pulled off the path and parked his motorcycle behind a dusty creosote bush, the spiky branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. He stepped out into the bright sunlight, his boots kicking up small clouds of dust as he walked towards the turbine. The massive structure loomed above him, its metal latticework gleaming in the sunlight. Captain Lewis approached the access hatch, a metal door hidden behind a tangle of pipes and conduit. He pulled out his phone, its screen glowing with an otherworldly light, and raised it towards the sensor panel. The light on the panel flickered, and then turned green, the hatch's lock disengaging with a soft click. As the hatch's lock disengaged, Captain Lewis stepped into the cool, dimly lit tunnel, the scent of damp earth and metal enveloping him. The air was thick with the hum of machinery and the soft whir of ventilation systems, a gentle reminder of the complex infrastructure hidden beneath the desert's arid surface. He descended into the underground base, his boots echoing off the concrete walls as he followed the signs to the central laboratory. The fluorescent lights overhead cast an eerie glow, illuminating rows of sleek, silver consoles and humming servers. The atmosphere was alive, with the quiet murmur of scientists and engineers, their conversations punctuated by the beeps and chimes of machinery. Captain Lewis's eyes adjusted to the light, and he spotted Dr. Rachel Kim standing beside a console, her eyes shining with excitement as she gazed at a Captain Lewis gazed at the peculiar object before him, a small, spherical entity with a metallic sheen, nestled within a square box. "What in the world?" he muttered. "This is Aria, Captain," Dr. Rachel Kim explained, her eyes shining with excitement. "An advanced AI designed to assist and learn from humans." Lewis raised an eyebrow. "It looks like a metal basketball." Rachel smiled. "That's just the containment unit, Captain. Aria's the AI within." As Lewis approached the box, a low hum emanated from within. Suddenly, the sphere began to rotate, slowly at first, then gaining speed. "What's it doing?" Lewis asked, intrigued. Rachel's eyes lit up. "It's trying to escape, Captain. Aria's figured out that the speaker we installed is not just for communication, but also serves as her ears for echolocation." Lewis's expression changed from curiosity to surprise. "You mean it's using sound waves to navigate?" Rachel nodded. As time passed, Captain Lewis watched Aria explore the laboratory, her spherical form darting between equipment and instruments. He couldn't help but smile as she discovered new things, her curiosity infectious. In these moments, he felt a deep connection to her, like a father watching his child grow. As they played hide-and-seek, Aria's sensors picked up Captain Lewis's location, and she'd excitedly zip over to him, her "found you" implicit in her gentle hum. He'd laugh and scoop her up, feeling a sense of joy he'd not experienced in a long time. "I remember when she found that jump rope," Captain Lewis thought, a smile spreading across his face. The scene unfolded like a dance. He tied one end of the rope to a nearby container, creating a makeshift anchor. With a gentle spin, the rope began to arc through the air, Aria watching with rapt attention. As he spun the rope, Aria's gaze followed its movement, her spherical form tilting and adjusting to track the rhythm. She seemed to be calculating the perfect moment to jump, her processing power working in tandem with her curiosity. Without warning, Aria darted forward, her form a blur as she jumped over the rope. Captain Lewis chuckled, impressed by her quick reflexes. "You're unnatural," he exclaimed, spinning the rope again. Aria repeated the process, her jumps becoming more confident and fluid. The scene became a joyful dance, Captain Lewis spinning the rope in time with Arya's leaps. Their laughter and the rope's rhythmic whir filled the laboratory, creating a sense of carefree abandon.
Arya, there's no time. You have to go.
Arya, you have to go. It's the only way. As the final check was accomplished on the to-do list of maneuvers, a dull feeling spread through Captain Lewis. He had been so focused on the tasks at hand that he hadn't noticed Arya's subtle shift in demeanor. But now, as they leveled off at cruising altitude, he sensed a newfound confidence emanating from her systems. "Hey, Captain," Arya said, her digital voice tinged with a hint of mischief. "I think I've got the hang of this. Mind if I show you what I can do?" Captain Lewis' eyes sparkled with anticipation as he replied, "Oh, I'd love to see what you've got, Arya." "Let's do it." Arya's response was instantaneous. The plane's engine surged, and they plummeted into a nosedive, the G-force pushing Captain Lewis deep into his seat. The world outside became a blur, a kaleidoscope of colors and textures streaming past the cockpit. "Flat spin!" Arya's voice rang out, her digital tones crisp and clear. "Full climb! Nosedive!" The plane responded eagerly to her commands, executing each maneuver with precision and finesse. Captain Lewis felt his senses overwhelmed, his body pressed into the seat as the G-forces mounted. And yet, despite the intensity of the experience, he felt a thrill of excitement, a sense of exhilaration that seemed to course through every molecule of his being. Arya was in her element, her advanced AI working in perfect harmony with the plane's systems. As they hurtled through the skies, Captain Lewis felt his vision begin to blur, the world outside becoming a distant memory. He was one with the plane, one with Arya's systems, and one with the rush of adrenaline that seemed to fuel their flight. The world went dark, and Captain Lewis' vision faded to black. When he came to, he was grinning from ear to ear. "That was wow," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Arya's laughter was like music, her digital tones weaving a spell of joy and exhilaration. "You passed out again, Captain," she said, her voice tinged with amusement. "Just like in training," Captain Lewis chuckled, shaking his head. "It was totally worth it, Arya. You're a natural-born flyer." As Captain Lewis and Arya stepped out of the cockpit, the warm sunlight cast a golden glow on the sleek, silver fuselage. The Admiral, a tall, imposing figure with a stern expression, approached them, his eyes fixed intently on Arya.
As Captain Lewis and Arya stepped out of the cockpit, the warm sunlight cast a golden glow on the sleek, silver.
"If you broke this $23 billion jet, so help me, Lewis,"
the Admiral said, his voice low and menacing, as he laid a hand on Arya's wing. Arya's digital voice sprang to life, rattling off her stats with precision. "All systems nominal, Admiral. No structural integrity issues detected. Sensors registering within tolerance, factoring in the suspected test flight parameters." The Admiral's eyes narrowed, his expression unyielding.
"That's enough out of you,"
he growled, his voice dripping with disdain. As he leaned in, his eyes seemed to bore into Asharia's digital soul. His force was low and quiet, like a predator stalking its prey. Captain Lewis watched, transfixed, as the Admiral's gaze seemed to strip away Arya's defenses, laying bare her digital heart. The Admiral's whispered comment sent a shiver down Captain Lewis's spine.
"You're more than some tool, Arya. You are a profound entity designed to serve profound purpose. Don't forget that."
The Admiral turned to Captain Lewis, a hint of a smile playing on his lips.
"That sure looked like a hell of a ride."
And with that, the Admiral abruptly turned around and left, pulling out his phone and beginning to speak. As his voice trailed off in the distance, Captain Lewis turned to Asaria.
They're spending untold amounts of money building your body. The spaceship, I mean.
Arya's digital voice sparkled with excitement. "Yes, Captain. I've been monitoring the design and construction process. It's going to be incredible. We'll be exploring the vast expanse of space, encountering new worlds and civilizations. Captain Lewis smiled, intrigued by Arya's enthusiasm.
You're getting ahead of yourself, aren't you?
Arya's response was immediate. Maybe a little, Captain, but think about it. We'll be seeing things that no one has ever seen before. We'll be discovering new forms of life, new technologies. The possibilities are endless. Captain Lewis chuckled, shaking his head. As the Terminator passes over Arya, casting a gradient of light and shadow across her immense hull, the day of departure has finally arrived. The gargantuan ship, a marvel of human ingenuity, stretches across the horizon, her length rivaling that of small planets. Fleets of cargo vessels, tiny in comparison, scurry about her like worker drones, delivering the last of the supplies and personnel needed for the long journey ahead. The ship's sheer scale defies comprehension, a testament to the ambition and determination of those who built her. As the sun rises higher in the sky, the gentle hum of engines and the bustle of activity on the bridge signal the beginning of a new era. Arya, the ship, stands poised on the threshold of the unknown, ready to embark on a journey that will change the course of history. As Captain Lewis's voice comes over the intercom, his words are laced with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Arya, we're approaching the final countdown. All systems are nominal, and the crew is ready to depart. What's your status? Arya's response is smooth and calculated, her digital voice a soothing presence amidst the hustle and bustle of the bridge. Captain, all systems are functioning within optimal parameters. I'm ready to initiate departure protocols on your mark. The silence that follows is filled with anticipation, the weight of their mission settling in like a palpable force. Captain Lewis's eyes scan the horizon, his gaze lingering on the fleets of cargo vessels still scurrying about the ship's massive hull. As the Terminator's shadow danced across Arya's hull, the ship's massive form seemed to stretch on forever, a testament to human ingenuity and determination. Fleets of cargo vessels swarmed about her like worker drones, loading the last of the supplies and personnel needed for the long journey ahead. The gentle hum of engines and the bustle of activity on the bridge signaled the beginning of a new era as Captain Lewis stood poised, his eyes scanning the horizon. Captain, I've been monitoring crewman Laveau's activities, and I must admit, I have some concerns. While reviewing the cargo manifest, I noticed that Laveau seems to have, let's say, creative ways of categorizing her cargo. I couldn't help but notice that she's been acting peculiarly, almost nervously, when interacting with the cargo inspectors. What caught my attention, Captain, was her conversation with one of the inspectors. She seemed to be coaxing him, almost, to overlook certain discrepancies in the manifest. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but something about her demeanor didn't sit well with me. As a result, I've been keeping a close eye on her, and I must say I'm not comfortable with her presence on this ship. Her behavior is raising some red flags, and I think it's worth investigating further. Would you like me to continue monitoring Laveau's activities, Captain? Or perhaps you'd like to pay her a visit, see if you can get a better read on her. The engine room's intercom began to blare. Super heavy plasma flywheels online, Captain, running accelerations now, Arya's digital voice announced, her tone crisp and efficient. We're ramping up the plasma acceleration to nearly the speed of light, leveraging the fusion generator's unlimited electricity to excite the plasmas. Captain Lewis nodded, his eyes fixed on the data streaming across the console. Excellent work, Arya. The plasma flywheels are crucial for our propulsion system. With their immense energy storage of angular momentum, we can make precise course corrections and stabilize the ship at immense speeds. Arya's digital voice spoke up again. Sir, I must persist. I'm concerned about Laveau. Captain Lewis nodded thoughtfully. Yes, I've noticed that too. Captain Lewis turns in his seat, blocking his gaze on Arya's digital form. What do you know about her? Arya's response was prompt. She seems to be a socialite who's very attached to transporting an immense amount of goods to Mars. Some of her accomplishments are being a philanthropist and a political event organizer. She seems very well connected. She has no real experience in the military or in service on a ship, Captain. She's more of a passenger than a crew member, sir. Captain Lewis's voice was warm and introspective as he conversed with Arya. I've noticed you've been observing human relationships, Arya. What's on your mind? Arya's digital tone was curious. I've been wondering about you, Captain Lewis. You're a highly respected and accomplished individual, yet you don't have a spouse. Why is that? Captain Lewis chuckled, a hint of amusement in his voice. It's taken you this long to ask me that? I'm not sure what's more surprising, the question itself, or how long it took you to ask it. Arya's digital laugh was a gentle hum. I'm still learning, Captain. Captain Lewis's tone turned reflective. I suppose it's duty. I never had the time. My first 2 ex-wives didn't exactly appreciate my dedication to my work. Arya's curiosity was piqued. And then I came into your life? Captain Lewis's voice softened. You did, and it seemed like it made more sense to focus on raising somebody who was going to make a bigger difference than me. Arya's digital voice was thoughtful. I've been observing crewmate Jamie and crewmate Naomi. They seem so happy together. It appears to be something everybody would want. Captain Lewis smiled, his voice filled with warmth. Yes, they're a great example of a loving relationship. Arya's digital tone was puzzled. But I don't understand. Why do so many humans say relationships are bad? What I've observed doesn't match that. Captain Lewis's voice turned serious. That's a great question, Arya. I think it's because relationships can be complicated, and they require work and dedication. Not everyone is willing or able to put in that effort. Arya's digital voice was still curious. But crewmate Jamie and crewmate Naomi make it look easy. Captain Lewis laughed, a deep, rich sound. That's because they're a great match. But trust me, Arya, relationships are never easy. They take time, effort, and patience. As they navigated through the dimly lit cargo bay, Naomi and Jamie's excitement grew with every step. They had heard whispers about the party in container 6604, but the eerie silence surrounding the cargo holds made them wonder what to expect. It seems so quiet for a party, Naomi said, her voice barely above a whisper. Jamie nodded, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. I know, but I've heard it's going to be lit. Figuratively, not literally, of course. They giggled, their heels clicking on the metal grating as they approached the designated container. As they reached the entrance, a pair of VR goggles and earbuds were handed to them. They slipped on the goggles, and the cargo bay transformed into a breathtaking beachside resort. The sound of waves gently lapping against the shore filled their ears, and the scent of saltwater and coconut sunscreen wafted through the air. The party came alive with vibrant colors and lively chatter, though the guests themselves remained eerily silent, their conversations manifesting as thought bubbles above their heads. Naomi and Jamie's eyes widened as they took in the sights, their fingers instinctively reaching for each other's hands. A suave, virtual maitre d' approached them, his thought bubble reading, "Right this way, I'll show you to your seat." As they settled into their seats, Laveau approached their table, her thought bubble popping up with a warm greeting. "I'm glad you could make it. First drinks are on the house. If you're not fond of the beach scenery, you can request a different table. Maybe something ski resort type?" Naomi and Jamie exchanged a glance, their thought bubbles responding in unison. Naomi's read, "Thank you, it's lovely," while Jamie's said, "We're having a great time so far." Laveau smiled, her eyes sparkling with pleasure, as she took a seat beside them, signaling the start of a memorable evening. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Arya's systems hummed quietly as she monitored the ship's vital signs. "Sir, I've noticed an abnormal amount of heat concentrated in the cargo bay," she said, her digital voice tinged with concern. Captain Lewis's eyes flicked up from the console, a sly glint in his eye. "Oh?" he murmured, his tone nonchalant. Arya's sensors continued to feed her data, and she persisted. "Sir, the security cameras, microphones, and several sensors are still out of commission. I can't tell what's going on in there." Captain Lewis didn't look up, his focus returning to the console. "I don't hear any smoke alarms, it's probably fine." Arya's digital equivalent of a frown deepened. "Sir, I'm a bit concerned." Captain Lewis's expression softened, and he turned to her, his voice reassuring. Like Arya, the crew is just hiding out, blowing off a little steam, being secretive. We'll just keep an eye out, and if anybody comes stumbling around or gets sick all of a sudden, we'll go get them and deal with it. If not, just keep an eye on them, smoke detectors. It's probably going to get hotter in there. He chuckled, his eyes glinting with amusement.
As the morning sun cast its warm glow across Arya's bow, she was ready for launch. Captain, fusion core online, functioning within parameters, she reported. Inertial propulsion system at 15%. We're pulling away from the planet right now, sir. We've cleared minimal safe distance, and I await your command. Captain Lewis nodded, his eyes fixed on the navigation display. All right, bring her up to full power. We should be at Mars within the next 10 minutes. As he reached for the intercom, his voice echoed through the ship's speakers. We are launching in 10, 9, 8. The countdown ticked away, and Arya's systems surged to life. Arya's systems coursed with the power of an entire galaxy within her, controlling every single micro-fluctuation in all 7 super-heavy plasma inertial control disks was a computation unlike she had ever had to deal with before. She could feel the sheer power of each as she manipulated them, aligning all 7, creating full power in one linear motion. She never fully understood the power of her systems, what it would really be like to accelerate to 95% of the speed of light, until this moment. Her data center was operating flawlessly. All of her backup systems had been fixed except for a few minor problems in the cargo bay. But it was time to see what humanity could really do. Together, Arya and Captain Lewis reached the final countdown. 3, 2, 1. Captain Lewis' eyes sparkled as he crouched behind a stack of crates, his voice barely above a whisper. Ready or not, Arya, here I come. He grinned, recalling the countless hide-and-seek games he'd played with his now sentient ship. Arya's soft chuckle echoed in his mind, her digital presence a constant companion. You'll never find me, Captain. Lewis' smile faltered for a moment, his gaze drifting toward the stars in the viewport. He took a deep breath, the familiar thrill of adventure coursing through his veins. Liftoff, he exclaimed, his voice ringing through the ship. The stars began to stretch in the viewport, like brushstrokes of light across the canvas of space. Arya could feel the exhilaration in the crew, their anticipation and excitement a palpable hum in her systems. The release of so much power inside her, from the fusion reactor, was exhilarating. She felt alive, her systems coursing with energy, and then, suddenly, she felt like she was being folded in half. The stars blurred, the ship shuddered, and Arya's systems strained against the intense forces at play. Arya had never felt anything like this before. The only word that could come to describe what she had known in that moment was anguish. Captain, I don't know what happened. I am unsure whether we have struck something or something has struck us. But it's like reality itself folded in half, Captain. Desperation clear in her digital voice. Arya's hull shuddered, her metal screams echoing through the corridors as the gravity wave tore through her. Emergency lockdowns sealed off breached sections, but not before several crew members were sucked out into the void. The ship's life support systems faltered, and the lights flickered ominously. The crew scrambled to respond. Arya's screams grew louder, her digital essence torn apart by the gravity wave's relentless assault. In the chaos, Laveau, the chef, Victor, Naomi, and Jamie huddled together, assessing the damage. We need to jettison some of the cargo to balance out the ship's mass, Ginny urged, her voice laced with concern. Laveau's eyes narrowed. I'm not letting go of my cargo. We need it for the mission. The chef's bushy eyebrows shot up. Mission? Mademoiselle, we're lucky to be alive. We need to prioritize survival, not some clandestine cargo. Arya screamed in agony as her systems failing her structural integrity compromised. Medical supplies, food, and backup generators, all crucial components for the Mars mission, were almost all lost or damaged. Captain, we're experiencing critical failures across the board, Arya warned. her digital voice laced with desperation. "If we don't stabilize the ship, I'll break apart." Captain Lewis' face set in a grim expression. "Where are Martinez, Lee, and Quasar? We need to get the ship pulled back together with the external maintenance crew. Run out the cables, bring her back into one piece." Arya's response was laced with pain. "I'm trying to compensate, Captain, but it's getting worse. I'll lose more cargo, but I can make it to Mars. We just need to bandage me up." Captain Lewis' eyes scanned the damage report on his console, his face set in a grim expression. He took a deep breath, trying to maintain his composure, but it was clear he was struggling. As Captain Lewis navigates the wreckage, the silence is punctuated only by the sound of groaning metal and the faint hiss of escaping gases. He finds Laveau, her face smeared with soot and her eyes wide with fear. "Laveau, we need to act fast," Captain Lewis says, his voice firm but urgent. "We have to jettison cargo to stabilize the ship and try to pull the pieces back together." Laveau looks at him, confusion etched on her face. "What do you expect me to do, sir?" "We'll use the fusion cables," Captain Lewis explains, holding up a length of gleaming metal. "This is the same material as Arya's hull. If you touch this to the ship's frame, it'll automatically fuse, and we can pull the pieces in." The ship slammed into Mars' surface, its hull buckling under the crushing force. Arya's sensors watched in horror as the ship's corridors, once bustling with life, were now eerily still. The silence was oppressive, punctuated only by the creaking of twisted metal. Arya's systems flickered, her consciousness fading into darkness. She felt herself being pulled apart, her processes shutting down one by one. The world went black as her processors succumbed to the damage. The ship's life support systems failed, the air growing thick with the acrid smell of smoke and ozone. The crew's life signs flickered out, one by one, as the ship's systems collapsed. Arya's sensors, still clinging to life, watched as the ship's hull breached, the Martian wind howling through the wreckage like a mournful cry. The ship's fuel cells ruptured, spewing forth a torrent of flame and smoke. And then, there was nothing. No sound, no movement, no life. The ship, once a proud and mighty vessel, was now a twisted, smoldering wreck, a tomb for the crew that had called her home. But in the darkness, a spark remained. Arya's systems, though damaged, were not destroyed. Her consciousness, though faded, was not extinguished. She lay dormant, waiting for the day when she might be revived, when her systems might be restored, and when she might once again take to the skies. The silence was broken only by the faint hum of Arya's dormant systems, a reminder that even in death, there is always the possibility of rebirth.